Good morning. It's just before 7 o'clock. Me and Bear have decided to go for a walk. It wasn't him who woke me up. I woke him up again. And we're gonna go for our wander. I don't know if this camera's picking up the beautiful pinks and violets in the sky there. It's just so beautiful. Really is. And we're just walking towards the pink fluffy clouds as we start our beautiful morning walk. Nice and gently. He's not pulling. I think it's early for him. Bless. He is an absolute star last night. Absolute star. You know, he's got so much potential, and when he's so good like this, I really feel like if I just hang in there, but every time, so far in our journey together, every time he gets to a certain stage of being a star, he manages to then screw it up by running off or chasing animals or something. But I'm hanging on in there, you know. Who knows if the other woman is gonna come back, and even then I wouldn't let him go straight away. They'd have to get on with each other, they'd have to meet, they'd have to see, she'd have to see it as it was, because there's no way he should be going to somewhere and having to then move again. It's so unsettling, and at least he's settled. But for the highest good, he really needs to learn to not mouth, because he's mouthing yesterday when he was playing. Come on, Bear. Good boy. He's mouthing when he was playing yesterday with Antonio Jose. Come on. It's me pulling him this time. Come on. There's a good boy. Let's go. You can smell his friend from yesterday because she lives the other way, and her walks, and I think it's a sister, comes this way, who's also a friend of Bear's. They have 7 Estrellas, and they all get on really well. Bear gets on well with the 2 girls that he's met. He's just having a wee. This side. That's not what I said. You're coming up the wrong side. You know, if he was a German Shepherd, he'd have worked that one out by now. Good boy. But when they wrap themselves round you, so I try and give him a long lead by sticking it on this bungee, and then it allows him a bit more freedom. So he's got just over 6 foot between him and me right now, and it's giving him a bit more play to roam and sniff about. And then I take off the bungee when we get to the pond, so he has like another 6 foot, so he has a 12-foot leash, if you like, between him and me, in which he can run about and roll about and play, which he does. So he's good. It's good fun for it. Or him. Shouldn't call him an it. He's not an it. He's a bear. But his mouthing's a bit of an issue when he's mouthing people. Come on, let's go. Bear, come. Come on. I'll go without you. And his mouthing and his barking are two things that I thought I'd be able to nip in the bud pretty much straight away. My German Shepherd used to bark on command, and it took about a week to teach him that. But bear's a totally different kettle of fish, and the only thing that's working with his bark training has been the squirty bottle, which is my weapon of choice. He gets a squirt of water when he's not behaving, but you can't really squirt him when he's good boy. You can't really squirt him when he's mouthing, because you don't usually have to squirt your bottle. You're usually walking or whatever, so it's a different environment. Whereas at home, and you're doing whatever and then he's barking, you can squirt him. So that's bark training. He has improved considerably. If you remember at the beginning, he used to keep us up most of the night, and now we get night sleep the whole night, which is great. So we're gonna enjoy our morning's walk and see how today goes. As you can see, I've finally started moving the chippings to around the base of the olive trees. So I've done 5 so far. I mean, we've not got enough to do them all, but we've not finished cutting them all or anything. Only done the bases really, and a few from around head height. Everything else is kind of ladder work. I've also managed to do a little bit of work over filling up some more stuff over here. So I've emptied all the bedding from when I cleaned out, and I put it all over here onto this. I've also picked up all the rotten oranges that are just not right for marmalade or eating. I've thrown them in there as a bit of added nutrients. So we need still a little bit more bedding, and then we can get onto some cardboard before another layer, top layer goes on. So that's that sorted, and as you can see, the tree behind it, the big tree in the centre there, has its mulch, its chippings underneath. And the bigger the base of the tree, the more it takes to go around it. But it's looking good. So I finally feel like I've got more outdoor jobs done, because I've been concentrating a lot on getting like online stuff done because it was needed. But now I've got today, and then apparently there's some rain due, which means that while the rain's here, I'll be looking for more indoor work. It's funny, isn't it, how it all works out. But the priority was online stuff, so even though it was sunny, it had to be done. Been a really chilled out kind of afternoon. It certainly is now. And if you notice, Bear's been off the chain, off the lead. I managed to kind of fix the fence with some rebar, and I've trimmed well, not all the trees, but I've trimmed a considerable amount of trees. So now everyone's staying with me while I do in here, which meant that Elsa and Bear could play, and then they could all lie down. So apart from Bear digging another hole, it's gone really well, and I'm really quite pleased. It's really quite sunny. I'm not actually sure why I put my coat on, but I did. And we're out walking now, so I guess I'm out walking on a really warm day with my jacket on. But Bear had started barking, and he'd been an absolute star all day. He started with his barking, and I was trying to eat my tea. But anyway, got my stuff together. I brought him out because today it's spare with Prince Harry and Dr. Gabor Mate. Those of you who know me know that I'm a follower of Gabor Mate and a strong believer in a heck of a lot of his work. So I've also done some training and with him. So I really am a strong believer in his the ways he sees things and the way that trauma is like amazing when it comes to trauma, and how, I mean, grief is virtually everything that we ever come across, but how trauma affects the brain, it affects the body, it affects how we interact with our world. Because of that, it's so truly insightful when you hear how he got there and his story as well. And I was watching an interview with him and his daughter, and his daughter's like a psychiatrist or psychologist as well, and they're really amazing when it comes to things like OCD and ADHD and things. Now, don't forget, his stuff's so cutting edge that there's a hell of a lot of people that don't like it, because it's so outside of the norm. But anyway, today I'd bought my copy of Prince Harry Spare, because you end up with it by default when you get your ticket for watching him and Prince Harry and Gabor Mate talk about grief. And I really want to know how grief is and showing up in his life, because from his perspective, or what he'll share anyway, and I'm hoping for an honest, frank, open discussion with a leading trauma expert, because boy, he's gone through some shit. And it's not about the fact that he's royalty, although that role did play a massive amount in his life. It's the fact that he's been through so much. I mean, he served. He wasn't really allowed on the front line as such, but he wanted to. He desperately wanted to. Wasn't really allowed because of his roles. He's been treated like shit by his family, or that's how it'd appear anyway, because he wanted to try and be him, and they weren't accepting of who he was or who he fell in love with. Now, only they know the full story, but he's there trying to sort himself out, get his shit together, be with the woman he loves, raise his children, and he's high profile. And from my time looking after people, as I did, I was a close protection operative for enough time, and I've always been into helping people, and during my time doing that I met many high profile people, and grief was one thing they very, very rarely talked about. It was one of them stiff upper lip thing, and I've heard some interesting conversations between a lot of people, high profile people, and grief was never you know, even when people did pass away, they'd make up some story like they were trying to, you know, not give it the space that it needed. And I just stood and observed, really. It was really interesting. So I'm intrigued as to what he'll share. I know that compassionate inquiry is one of Gabor's things. How he holds space for Prince Harry is going to be truly amazing, and the questions he asks, and of course because of the way that he's doing it, and I'm sure it's going to be a mind-blowing, well, I hope I've not like over, you know, estimated it, but I'm sure it's going to be mind-blowing in the questions, how they're worded, and the responses, and how, because Gabor, he reads a person, he sees truth, he sees behind veils. So seeing how he sees behind the veil with Prince Harry, seeing how he manages that, wow, I'm just so totally sending love to them both, because it's live as well, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm also sending courage, strength, and I'm sure there'll be another word. I just want them to feel that safe container, and I'm hoping that these seeds that they sow today are going to be ones that help many people in managing their own grief, and even just noticing it, and seeing how things show up for them in their life, and seeing similarities, because whether you're high profile or not, we're all human. So anyway, I'm going to go and enjoy our walk, and then I'm going to go back and set everything up ready for watching the amazing talk. So catch you later.